Pasadena, California, NASA's Cassini spacecraft, the intrepid robotic explorer of Saturn's magnificent beauty, ended a journey of 20 years on Friday like a shooting star streaking across Saturn's sky. By design, the probe vanished into Saturn's atmosphere, disintegrating moments after its final signal slipped away into the background noise of the solar system. Until the end, new measurements streamed 1 billion miles back to Earth, preceded by the spacecraft's last picture show of dazzling sights from around our Sun's sixth planet. The signal from the spacecraft is gone and, within the next 45 seconds, so will be the spacecraft, Earl Mays, the program manager, announced in the control room at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory here, just after 4:55 a.m. local time. His eyes teared and his voice wavered as he said, "I am going to call this the end of mission." During a news conference later, he said, "To the very end, the spacecraft did everything we asked." The team members, some of whom had spent decades on the mission, started hugging each other when news of the spacecraft's demise arrived. Never again would Cassini send home the images and data that inspired discoveries and wonder during the probe's 13 years in orbit around the ringed planet. "For me, there's a core of sadness, in part in thinking of the breakup of the Cassini family," said Linda Spilker, Cassini project scientist. "But it's both an end and a beginning as these people go off and work on other things." The mission for Cassini, in orbit since 2004, stretched far beyond the original 4-year plan, sending back multitudes of striking photographs, solving some mysteries and upending prevailing notions about the solar system with completely unexpected discoveries. "Cassini is really one of those quintessential missions from NASA," said Thomas H. Zurbuchen, NASA's Associate Administrator for Science. "It hasn't just changed what we know about Saturn, but how we think about the world." Its end closes the chapter on the exploration of Saturn for probably a decade or longer. Still, there is much left for scientists to study and decipher. Cassini had its origins in the brainstorm of two scientists, Daniel Gauthier of the Paris Observatory and Wing-Huen IP, then at the Max Planck Institute for Aeronomy in Germany. NASA's two Voyager spacecraft flew through the Saturn system in 1980 and 1981. Voyager 1, in particular, provided a close-up look at Titan that was enthralling and maddening. Larger than the planet Mercury, Titan was enshrouded in haze. The atmosphere was thicker than Earth's and contained methane and other carbon-based molecules. What lay below, no one knew. Those discoveries led to many more questions, Dr. IP recalled. In 1982, Dr. Gauthier and Dr. IP proposed to the European Space Agency that it collaborate with NASA on a Saturn mission, an orbiter paired with a probe that would parachute onto Titan. The orbiter became Cassini, built and operated by NASA. The Titan probe was named Huygens, a project of the European Space Agency. The Europeans approved Huygens in 1988. A year later, NASA gave the go-ahead for Cassini. The craft were named for a Dutch astronomer, Christian Huygens, who discovered Titan and figured out Saturn had rings, and Giovanni Domenico Cassini, a French-Italian astronomer, who discovered 4 other major moons of Saturn, each in the 17th century. To take advantage of the gravitational boost from a flyby of Jupiter to accelerate Cassini-Huygens, the spacecraft was launched on October 15, 1997. 7 years later, Cassini swung into orbit around Saturn. A few months later, Huygens headed to its rendezvous with Titan, the first attempt to touch down on a moon other than our own. The lander was equipped with instruments to identify molecules in the air, measure the winds and haze, and take pictures on the way down. Because the spacecraft designers did not know what the surface was made of, they had designed Huygens to handle several possibilities, including floating for a few minutes if it had turned out that Titan's surface was a global ocean of methane. Instead, Huygens bumped onto solid ground, surrounded by a complex network of small rivers. "If you would jump from your table or your desk, you would land on the floor at this speed," said Jean-Pierre Lebreton, the project scientist for Huygens. "A very reasonable landing speed." Photographs at the surface showed what looked like rounded cobblestones that turned out to be blocks of water ice. The data from Huygens, together with that gathered by Cassini in repeated flybys, revealed Titan as a world shaped by active geological processes with rivers, lakes and rain. But in the frigid temperatures there, about -290 degrees Fahrenheit, the fluid is not water, but methane. Titan has really revealed an Earth-like world, Dr. LeBreton said. NASA spacecraft, if they survive to their destination, often just keep going. Cassini stayed 7 more years to watch changes in Saturn,